It's Sunday No Huddle on location. You can hear they've got a Chiefs party here behind us in downtown Kansas City as the Chiefs are taking on the Cowboys with Robert Rosenthal from IlliniBoard.com. From Iowa City to Kansas City, from football to basketball. But let's start with football here. Your biggest impression after a crazy week for the Illini is what?
It's that you can probably count on this defense for a long, long time. At some point, you just keep thinking, look, they're going to give up 400 yards to somebody again. We remember the Virginia game. Someone's going to figure them. The changes they've made, somebody's going to figure something out and attack it. It just hasn't happened. Only 250-some yards for Iowa. The kickoff was huge. The kickoff return for a touchdown. The interception return for a touchdown. They got 14 of their points that way. But this defense is dependable and has a lot of juniors coming back next year. So it's a very interesting time.
The defense only gives up one touchdown, and yet Illinois as a team allows 33 points. It's almost like head-scratching in a sense of how quickly things can turn. Illinois had more yards offensively than Iowa did, and yet you lose the game by 10. So, I think they've proven to us now, Robert, that you can feel good about the defense and that this is a pretty good Illinois defense overall.
I definitely think so. I think we've seen why Ryan Walters got the extension. That one drive, Iowa was figuring something out with the run, and then Illinois made an adjustment. I mean, they're doing it without Rod Perry, who's been a big part of this run. Vertus Brown played a lot of snaps. They seem to lose a guy. They've lost both starting linebackers. They've plugged in Tolson and Barnes and haven't lost a step. So it's just really impressive how, even as some injuries mount and some players being out, they continue to hold teams to around 300 yards. That's something we haven't seen in Champaign in a long time.
And I heard on your podcast say that you weren't that disappointed in the effort and where they were at, losing only by 10 to Iowa, when just a couple of years ago it was shut out 63-0 in Champaign.
Yeah, I was a little afraid. So before the Minnesota game, or even before the Rutgers game, people were saying, hey, look at this defense, look at what's happened. I'm like, okay, still got to go to Minnesota, still got to go to Iowa, still have Northwestern.
That's the Illinois fan in you, right?
Yes, they could have these 3 games and they give up 41, and then the narrative after the season is completely different. Let's wait to see what's happened. But as it continues to happen, week after week after week, you just think, wow, they've really figured something out. Really only 3 seniors playing at all yesterday, and that bodes well for the future.
All right, the offense is what it is at this point. I can't really say anything else about it except they are a struggling bottom, half of Big Ten. One of the worst offenses in the country statistically.
Yeah, well, we have to pay attention to the Big Ten. The Big Ten, I looked up the stat last night. It's something like 8 defenses in the top 31, 9 defenses, something like that.
Sure.
So that's going to be part of it. That's going to be part of why a Big Ten offense is really going to struggle. Take an offense from a smaller conference, put them in the Big Ten. They're putting up 450 yards a game. They're going to go down to 12 yards a game. It's going to be a lot different. So, it's not going to be the same, but we'll see.
All right, and so if nothing's going to change going forward, if it just is what it is going to this final game in Northwestern, how do they mount something together here and kind of create that first quarter offense? It's funny, there was no first quarter offense for the first 7-8 games.
And now it's only.
And now that's the only offense they have, Robert. So how do they kind of bring all that together?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think this is a very important game for Illinois. Like 5-7 going in the next year is a lot different than 4-8 going in the next year. Winning that trophy, beating Northwestern for the first time since 2014. They're favored in this game. They haven't been favored in a Big Ten game this season. When you have all that going for you, this is where you get the good vibes rolling into the offseason. You win this game, you get the trophy back, you beat the rival, you get the hat back, and you go into the offseason with a lot of momentum from a 5-7 season.
So how optimistic are you then that they can do that they can go beat Northwestern for the first time since 14?
I'm pretty optimistic. It's a decent matchup. Northwestern's offense has really struggled. This defense should be able to handle that. Northwestern's defense taken a decent step back this year from what they were. Look at some of their scores. They've really struggled. They're 3-8 right now, so it's a game they should win. But I think we all remember 2 years ago. Yeah. Very, very similar situation. That time Illinois was 6-4. They are going into the game against Iowa. They played Iowa decent that year. They come and play a 3-8 or 2-9 Northwestern team, I think, at the time, and they lost. And so with Andrew Marty, plugging in a quarterback and running all over them. So you just have to, we all remember what happened, and we need to acknowledge that and think about that. And it's going to make for a pretty good compare and contrast to what we saw, 2 years ago in this very, very similar game.
All right, the sun's setting here in Kansas City as Illinois basketball gets ready to bring back Kofi Cockburn. I asked him in the Zoom today what changes, and he essentially said everything. And I know that's simplistic, but it really is that for me. Like, you bring back your All-American center, and things are going to change. How optimistic are you that a different team will show up here on Monday and Tuesday than what we saw at Marquette?
I'm fairly optimistic. I'm still a little hesitant, given the specific issues that happened in the Marquette game. The turnovers, yes, Kofi will improve on that, but a center doesn't improve on 26 turnovers, almost all from the guards. They got to take care of the ball and this and that. So, yes, it changes everything, and yes, the pick and roll is a lot harder when you don't have the roller, and yes, there's a lot of differences, and having a rim protector. Obviously, if you have your first team All-American, you're probably going to beat Marquette. He's probably going to get you 2 more points somewhere during the game. So it's going to be an impact, but the issues that revealed themselves in that game are, the thing to watch. Are the turnovers limited? Are they still rebounding like this? How are they shooting better? Those are the things that this team needs to do.
Are you optimistic that this team is still, has your expectations changed after Monday is the common thing everyone wants to talk about?
I think they showed they're maybe not a top 10 team yet, that maybe 11 was just about right preseason. You didn't have Kofi, and you probably win that game, but still a lot of problems revealed themselves. So I think these 2 games in Kansas City, especially if you beat Arkansas in the final on Tuesday night, these 2 games can go a long way to proving, yes, this is maybe the 11th best team with the potential to get a lot better.